Good morning, good morning. It is Winning Wednesday. By the grace of God, I am back here again to give you another scripture on joy. This morning, I was reading in the book of Isaiah, chapter 9. So I'm going to read verses 1 through 3, but my focal points or the focal scripture is Isaiah chapter 9, verse 3. But I'm going to read verses 1 through 3. I'm going to read them in the King James Version, and then I'm going to read them in the Amplified Version, so bear with me this morning. Isaiah chapter 9, verse 1, King James. Nevertheless, the dimness shall not be such as was in her vexation, when at first he lightly afflicted the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, and afterward did more grievously afflict her by the way of the sea beyond Jordan in Galilee of the nations. Verse 2. The people that walk in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them have the light shine. And verse 3. Thou hast multiplied the nations and not increased the joy. They joy before thee according to the joy in harvest, as men rejoice when they divide the spoil. Now I'm going to read it in the Amplified Version just so it can be a little clearer for you as it was clear for me. And in the Amplified Version, before you read it, it says the birth and reign of the Prince of Peace. So I'm going to read it again. And these verses again of Isaiah chapter 9, verses 1 through 3, and verse 1 in the Amplified Version says, But there will be no more gloom for her who was in anguish. With judgment comes the promise of salvation. In earlier times, he treated the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali with contempt. But later on, he will make them honored by the presence of the Messiah, by the way of the sea, on the other side of Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. Verse 2. The people who walk in spiritual darkness will see a great light. That's a glory. That's a glory right there. That's a shout right there, because that means that their eyes will be open. Those who live in the dark land, the light will shine on them. You, O God, will increase the nation. You will multiply their joy. They will rejoice before you like the joy and jubilation of harvest. The joy and jubilation of harvest. Just think about when you harvest or you're planting something and you see it grow and you see it start to come up and you see that harvest and you're like, hey, or just let me put it more simpler. Just think about some of you may plant a garden or have a garden and you start to plant your garden, you put your seeds down, you water it, nurture it, and you tend to it. And then once you start to see your vegetables come up, like those collard greens or those tomatoes, once you see that harvest coming up, you get a little excited because you're proud of the work that you did, that you put into it, to see it start to grow and sprout and come up. So, I can feel that, like the joy of the harvest. Or either just put it in this way, for some of the seeds that you have sown into people's life, and God is rewarding you openly. Those seeds you have been sowing, your harvest is here now. You are reaping a harvest. So that's how that joy is compared. And then the last part is, as men rejoice when they divide the spoil of victory. And just say, when men go to battle and they divide the spoil of victory, or just say that the reward they receive from that, that's what the spoil is what you get from that. But just think about that today. So verse 3 is my focal point, and I'm going to read verse 3 again because that gave me joy. You, O God, will increase the nations. You will multiply their joy. They will rejoice before you like the joy and jubilation of the harvest. As men when they divide the spoil of victory. That right there is enough to make you shout. So it just lets you know today that God is going to multiply your joy. As he multiplies your joy today, you are to go before him and rejoice. It says rejoice, like joy and jubilation of the harvest. So just remember the seeds you're reaping from that harvest. So you should have that joy today, just like that, and you reflect on that. You reflect on the goodness of the Lord, because God tells us that he reward those who diligently seeks him. He's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. So just think about God answering your prayers, and that gives you joy. Think about the prayers he didn't answer, that he kept you from something. You know, he protected you for something. He protected your family members. He protected your children. You know, that brings you joy. Look at it today. You're still here in 2023. So that should give you joy, because a lot of people didn't make it. So think about the goodness of the Lord. Think about how he saved you from that thing that could have killed you. Think about how you may have had sickness in your body and he brought you from death to life. Think about that, and that should give you joy. That joy, unspeakable joy, that joy. Ooh, that joy and jubilation of the harvest. When you are jubilant, you are filled with joy. It's like you just can't contain it. It's just like, ooh, you know, like it shows from the inside out. And then it said, men rejoice when they divide the spoil of victory. You know, that's like a reward, you know, like, whoo. Or just think about it like this. Say you've taken a test and you may have failed that test and you had to take it more than one time. And then you finally passed that test. Ooh, and the reward at the end of that is you passed that class or you got that job, you know, whatever it is. But at the end, you got the reward. So that's how you think about your joy today. Be joyful today. And when you have an opportunity, go back and read Isaiah chapter 9, verse 3. I kind of read verses 1 through 3 because when it even talked about being in darkness, you know, when we go through different things, we can get in a dark place, but God lets us know in this that those who are in darkness, their light will shine. That light will be shined upon them. Once that light is shined upon you, you don't have to walk in darkness anymore. You are not defeated. You know, you can have salvation. You can walk with victory, and you can have that joy, unspeakable joy in your heart. I'm not going to hold you long this morning. I just want to say good morning. Thank you for allowing me into your space this morning. I will be back tomorrow with another scripture focusing on joy. Just remember, today is Winning Wednesday. You win and I win. And as long as we have that joy in our heart, we defeat the enemy. So we win again and we are victorious. Just carry that joy around like that harvest. Carry that joy around like the spoil of the men who divide the spoil after they win, after the victory, after they win. So thank you. Have a beautiful day. And remember, joy. Joy equals peace. Joy gives us strength. Joy gives us clarity. Joy keeps us going. So walk in joy, peace, and love today.